What's happening, everyone? Joey Antonelli here, and I got another surf fishing video coming up for you. Now, throughout the video, I'm gonna do voiceover, giving some tips and tricks. Hopefully it helps you out if you're new to surf fishing, or even if you're not new to surf fishing, maybe there's something I do a little differently than you, because I know I've been doing it my whole life and I'm still learning new stuff all the time. You can never know it all. So before we get started in the video, I wanna do a little shout out, jantogear.com. That's my merch. I make the hats, the stickers, I also got shirts. jantogear.com, all customizable and made by yours truly. So thank you very much for watching the video. Let's get into some surf fishing. More surf fishing action. Beautiful day, afternoon session. You don't see me doing the afternoon session too much, but right now the way the tides fall, I want to do an afternoon session. You see I got a big cutout on the beach right here where some nice steep slope coming up, and at a incoming tide, it should get nice and deep out there. I got 6 rods, my Tsunami rods. Got the hooked aluminum fabrication cart that I've been using now for a few months. Makes things a whole lot easier to bring a whole lot more stuff down, or just bring my normal stuff down, make it nice and easy. And we're gonna get the spikes set up and get some rods going. Let's flip the camera up and we'll, actually, let's got this old rod. There we go. Let's get some spikes in the ground right now. One of the first things you'll notice is I have 2 different size spikes. Now the spikes I use are just cut from thick wall PVC, and I use 2 different sizes mostly because when I would carry everything, I could fit one in the other, and then there's holes at the top where a piece of rope would go through and they would all clip onto a carabiner. So instead of carrying 6, I would only be carrying 3. I like the thick wall PVC. It's just a lot more stable. You can either pound them into the ground with a mallet if you want, or you can use like the rocking back and forth technique that I use. Now when I'm getting set up, first thing I like to do is get a rod in the water, and I usually bomb it out far. So that's this rod I'm getting right now. It's a Tsunami Trophy Series surf rod and Tsunami Shield 6000. I'm getting bait on it. I'm getting it out nice and far. And then I'm gonna have a rod in the water while I kind of set up everything else. From there, not that I take it easy and go slow, but I'm at least fishing and I have a chance of catching something while I'm getting everything else set up. We're gonna keep setting up. It didn't take long to get the first bite. I only had a couple rods set up so far, and one of them got hit and it looked like a pretty good fish. Now, another thing you'll notice is my rods have different color lines and I alternate them. That way, if I do get a tangle or one rod over the other, it's easy to tell which line belongs to which, because especially with braided line, a tangle, it can be a nightmare. First fish of the session. Had to go to a little bit of a heavier lead because that current's tripping out there. This one still is a 4-ounce, but I bumped up to a 6-ounce on the trophy rod just because they're so stiff and they can handle it. Feels like a decent fish though. Almost anytime I think I have a Pompano hooked up, this is the way I fight it. I'll go over it a little bit more detail later in the video, but exactly what you see me doing here means I think I have a Pompano on. Right there, that's what we're looking for. Pompanos. Sun's out, winter time in Florida, nice about 11.5, 12 inch, maybe even 12.5 inch Pompano on the top hook. We can't waste too much time. We gotta get it back out there because he ain't alone. He's got about 75 of his closest friends. Now your average person might think catching 75 of his closest friends would be a little extreme, and by most days it would be. It's not something I do regularly, but I have had some firing bites on the beach. It would be illegal for most people, but I hold a commercial fishing license which allows me to have higher limits of fish, and commercial fishing on the beach is a pretty unique style of commercial fishing. When I'm out on the boat, I need to make a lot more money because I have to pay for expenses. But when I'm just fishing on the beach for pompano and whiting and sheepshead and stuff like that, I have next to no expenses, so making a couple $100, doing what I love to do, having a nice relaxing day on the beach, I will take that any day. All right, we're back in business. I did measure that pump before I threw him in the bucket. It was like a hair under 12, but we'll show them to you.
They got to be 11 inches to the fork of the tail. So got his head on 0, just a hair under 12. Now we got to get that rod out. Just got my first pompano, but now that you're here, we'll get all the rods out.
Did you get a pump?
Yep.
Nice.
We got us a celebrity in the mix. None other than Dave Slays. Making the trip down from the jetty. Jetty closes, Dave gets pretty hard up. He does have a soft spot for pompanos though. And that's what we're looking for right now. That one had just a little tap tap, not like a big hit like that last one, but maybe it's a pompano. They hit all different ways. Sometimes it's a real hard hit with the rod doubled over. Sometimes it's a softer hit with little bounces and they're just running in. We'll see, we'll see.
Better, Joe.
Yeah, they go crazy in the trough, so if they do go crazy, let him do his little shaking thing and then keep reeling him as he gives it to you. Yeah, that looks like what the pompanos do, but we'll see. Yeah, that's pompano. Walk towards him when he does that too to make it easier. You don't have to walk towards him the whole time. Oh, it's a sheep. Sheeper, keeper, sheeper.
Another one of the things that I do a lot of the time is I don't touch fish often while I'm fishing on the beach. Now, this is mainly when I'm commercial fishing or trying to be quick. I use my pliers. I usually grab them by one of their fins, whatever fin is strong on that type of fish. And the reason I do that is because it keeps my hands clean. I can move faster. I don't have to worry about wiping slime or sand or anything off my hand before I grab my reels again or the rods and cast out. Now, today, this wasn't really a commercial fishing style day. This was just for fun. But that's why you will often see me grabbing fish with pliers. I can just move quicker and cleaner.
Those teeth. Let's get them in the cooler. If it's still there, and then slow down once you get tight on him, and just reel in as fast as he lets you. That was a good bend on that one. Hopefully he's still there. Gone. Yeah, a lot of times they'll come in and then they'll fight right in the trough. So just yeah, I don't think he's there. Oh yeah, I saw the shake. I saw the shake. Be ready for. He's gonna put the brakes on once he gets into that trough. Oh, he ain't even big. Big whiting. All right, keep him coming. Maybe there was 2 on or something. That looked like it was fighting harder than this guy. That's a whiting.
Now I'm up again, and I'll go over that fighting style for how I like to fight pompano on the beach, which I told you I would do. So I had a good bite. I was pretty sure it was a pompano. Typically when you're watching the rods on the beach, a pompano hit is going to be real fast and sporadic, where a whiting will shake, but a pompano just shakes so much faster. They're an incredibly fast fish. I've had people tell me that have been doing it for years and years and years that pompano can travel up to 60 miles in a day. I mean, they are just a fish that likes to move. So it makes sense when you're catching one. It's a very fast fish. So at the beginning of the fight, often the fish will either be moving side to side or coming in, not necessarily trying to pull away. So I just do a real steady, smooth reel, and then I follow the fish down to the water's edge. And then as he gives it back to me, I start walking back and reeling. And when the fish takes it, I walk towards it and kind of bow, almost the way you hear people talking about fighting a tarpon. And I don't do this because of the sheer power of the fish, but a lot of the time your hook might only be in the skin of the lip or hooked on the outside of the lip or something weird where it doesn't take much pressure to have the hook pull. And they pull so hard at the end of the fight that a lot of times you can lose the fish if you fight them too hard.
We got a float pompano and a no jewelry pompano. That looked like the right one. It doesn't? Oh, it's jumping out there. Maybe a ladyfish or something? I don't know, I saw it jump, but the pompanos will jump too sometimes.
Proper line management is something I don't see a lot of beginning anglers do. And that's because everyone wants to focus on the action. Dave had a good fish on. but I'm watching the rods nearby, and when I saw the next rod bouncing, I had a feeling it was a little bit tangled up with his, and it was. But with a quick maneuver, we were able to make it so it didn't become a tangled mess on the beach, didn't lose a rig, didn't tangle up and lose a lot of line, and we were able to spend more time fishing and less time tangled up.
That's gotta be a good pump. That one looks like it just got hit too.
Proper line management does take a little bit of practice though. Now, just because you see the rod next to you bouncing, that doesn't mean there's a problem. A lot of times these fish come through in schools and multiple rods will get hit at the same time. Whoever is fighting on the rod, they can feel everything that fish does, especially with braid. You can feel every single tail beat, you can feel when the fish pulls, and if the rod next to you is bouncing at the same rhythm or same pattern that you're feeling the fish in your hands do, then you know there's a tangle. So it's kind of up to your friend or whoever else is on the beach to say, hey, there's one on here, and then you can look over and be like, no, I'm wrapped, and that's when you guys kind of start working together. Now here, I'm not wrapped. There's another fish on the rod down the beach. I think it ended up being a whiting, but I'm just doing that end of the fight battle where the fish is in the trough, it's going nuts. I'm trying not to pull too hard because that's just not the way I like to do it. I use the wave, I use the fish's momentum, and then I do a nice smooth slide up the beach. And the reason I don't pull too hard is because they fall off the hook.
Another nice pompano. That's why I go real easy on them when I'm getting them through that shore break. I think Dave's hooked up too. Beautiful pompano right there. Getting close to wrapping things up for the day. I stopped filming most of them. Water temps just below 70 degrees. We got a few more sheeps and a bunch of pompano. I mean, we've been hitting the pompano steady. Just kind of picking at them. We're getting them.
This is the first year I started taking water temperature on my own and keeping my own little record logbook of all my trips, and I found that the pompano like a really wide range of water temperature, but the 70 to 65 to 70, 71 seems to be the sweet spot in my experience this year.
You got a couple sheepshead, hit the pompanos, got like about a dozen pompanos or so, and some whitings. Again, cart, hooked aluminum fabrication, and then the gear is all my Tsunami tackle. I'm fishing these Tsunami Shield 6000s, and then I got two different rods, the Tsunami Airwave 12-footer and the Tsunami Trophy Series 12-footer. Both great surf rods. The Trophy is heavier, not as fun to fight fish on, but it's also a little stiffer, casts heavier lead a little bit better. But the Airwave feels really nice in your hand and makes for a fun fight.
The catch portion was a success. Now it's time to clean some fish. I got a product made by Toadfish here, and it's their fold-up cutting board and knife that comes in a real nice neoprene case to get it all packed away, keep in your truck, in your house, wherever you want to keep it. Now, I have a link in the description to this if you want to go ahead and get one. I've been using it for a while now. I really like it. So here's how I like to fillet a pompano. I make my first cut behind that pectoral fin, going up towards the head, making sure to get that meat because it goes pretty much up over the eyeball, all the way up on the head. Then I'm going to flip my knife over and at an angle so that I don't punch through the bones, is follow it all the way down towards the tail of the fish. Once I make that initial cut, I'm going to flip the knife over, and at about a 45-degree angle to the fish, I'm going to follow those same bones down towards the spine. Now, a cold fish makes this a lot easier, so my fish were in an ice slush, which makes them incredibly easy to fillet. After several passes, you'll get yourself down to the spine. Then I just pick up on the meat a little bit, get the tip of the knife over the spine, and do the same thing down to the other side of the fish. Once I get pretty much through, just punch through the rest of the way. And in the favorite way that everyone loves, I cut right through the bones up towards my hand to separate that fillet from the body. Now the other side, I'm going to do the exact same way. You're left with the ribs in the fish. I will then go through, cut the ribs out, Sometimes there's some little pin bones in there, depending on how far you cut through there, but cut the pin bones out. And there's a beautiful fillet of pompano. We've done the catch, we've done the clean, now it's time to do the cook, and I'm doing it very simple. We got some olive oil on a baking sheet, got 2 fillets of pompano skin side down. On the fillet, we're going to put some fresh cracked pepper, some salt, and I'm all out of garlic. I wanted to put a little garlic on there, so I got some garlic powder. Hope that doesn't offend you too much, Craig. I made an effort. That's simple, as it gets. I got the oven at 350 degrees. You can also do it on broil. I didn't think of doing that at the time. You can eat the skin. You can eat the fish right off the skin. The scales are super small. Super simple recipe. Enjoy it. Get out there and catch some fish.
Oh.